All right, everyone, good evening. Come on, Brooklyn, you better than that. Good evening, Brooklyn. Come on, that's terrible. Good evening, Brooklyn. All right, I want to thank you guys for being here. For those who are still talking, please be quiet. Just for a moment. I want to bring up our illustrious Senator Kevin Parker, and certainly our next, as far as I'm concerned, our next New York City Comptroller. You guys can give a round of applause. Yeah! All right. I want to thank you guys for being here, and the Unified Political Association was proud to host this event for Senator Parker. He is somebody who we have a great deal of respect for, and he continues to have our support as well as whatever he wants to do, whether it's controller, mayor, I don't care, whatever it is. Whatever it is, he's got our support. So I will turn it over to him, Senator Kevin.
Thank you. Let me thank you, Hassan, for both your friendship and for your support, as well as Joan. I know she's here somewhere. Well, but let me just thank you both. I mean, we've known each other for a long time, and we've been friends, and we've worked on a lot of different things together. The Unified Political Association, since their inception, has done a really good job at not just organizing people in our community politically, but also educating them. And I think that's been the most important part of what we've been doing. As all of you know, I'm State Senator Kevin Parker. I represent the 21st District in Brooklyn. I'm the chairman of the Energy and Telecommunications Committee, as well as the Majority Whip in the New York State Senate.
Yes. And
because of the people of my community, I've had the honor of my life in serving them for 22 years. So when I leave here in a few minutes, I actually have to drive to Albany tonight because we actually have our first day of school up in the legislative session tomorrow morning at 10:30. And I'll be sworn into office again for my 12th time. And so, I want to thank the people of my community first for putting their trust in me. And for that entire time, I've actually served on the Finance Committee. What a lot of people don't know is that a lot of my background in politics and in public policy has been around, public and municipal finance, right? Worked on Wall Street at Payne Webber, worked for the state controller. The whole time I've been in the Senate, I've been in the Finance Committee. I've also served, including upcoming in the Banking Committee, the Insurance Committee, right? Doing the work around the finances of this great state and the city. When you look at New York City and New York State, you're talking about the third and fourth largest budgets in the entire country, right? It's the federal government's budget, which is upwards of $7 trillion. It's the state of California, the state of New York. Our budget this year is $237 billion. And then the city of New York, which, by the way, has the fourth largest budget in the entire country, right? So it's the federal government, state of California, the state of New York, and then the city of New York at a budget of $114 billion. That has a budget that comparable of Texas and Florida, even though it's only a city. Right? And so it's a lot of money. And then when you put that with the 5 pension funds that the city controller is in charge of, you're talking about somewhere in the order of $350 billion worth of economic activity of your money. Of your money. And so there's a lot that needs to be done. Clearly, right now, we're in the middle of, really a budget gap for almost everybody. Right? The city's budget is balanced, the state's budget is balanced, but you go home and your budget's not balanced. And the reality is, what's happening with your money that allows, and where the policies that are coming from, that allows your budget at home to balance, right? Those one of the things the affordability gap is really one of the things I'm going to be addressing in a very, very big way. Somebody just asked me about women minority business development. Part of the reality is that, as much as, the economy booms, Black, Latino, and Asian communities don't get the access to those dollars, right? In part because even though we have a $114 billion budget, probably $30 billion is contracting out, less than 5% of that goes to women, minority, and minority businesses. We need to change that. I'll change that under my tenure. Even in the context of the state controller's office, the city controller's office, you see state too, but you see very few money managers who come from our communities, and we're talking about billions of dollars. And you're talking about 2% on a $1 billion transaction. Y'all do the math, right? Yeah. And so at the end of the day, if it doesn't make dollars for us, it doesn't make sense. And so yes, you want to in fact make sure that you as a fiduciary, as the city controller is, you want to make sure those pension funds are solvent and that those retirees are getting their value. But you can do that and simultaneously make sure that communities that have put into those funds are in fact benefited from those funds by getting access to doing the investments, doing some of the other transactions that need to be done, even some of the legal transactions, right? And that frankly is not going to happen with anybody else who's in this race because nobody else knows how to do it. They don't have a record of doing it, to be honest with you. I've done this and worked on these issues on the state level, right? Show me there's one person in this race now who's done what I've done, right? On any level that they've been on. And so that's why I'm running, because the voice of the people of this community who are not from Midtown Manhattan have to be heard. It has to be heard, right? There's only about 2-3 million people living. I'm sorry, not 3 million. It's like less than 2 million people living in Manhattan, right? And that means there's something like 7 million people living anyplace else. Yes. I want to represent those people. I want to be their voice. I want to make sure that when we are making the financial decisions about this city, that in fact is being heard throughout the community. Nonprofit organizations, a lot of them suffer because they're not getting their money on time from the city. It's not just being held up in the mayor's office of contracts, it's also being held up in the controller's office, because that's who cuts all the checks. And then nobody there cares enough because they are not connected to our communities where nonprofits are the businesses in our communities. And so this work has to be done. And so I'm asking you now, in this moment, not just thank you for being here, thank you for your support, but I need you to be part of this campaign. There's so much that needs to be done in terms of getting the word out. And one of the first things, obviously, is raising money, right? Unfortunately, money is the mother's milk of politics, right? And unless we raise the money, we won't be able to get enough of a campaign. And New York City has a matching funds program. So if you live in New York City, they will match your contribution up to $250, right? And so, between $10 and $250, right? So make your contributions now, right? Contribute early, contribute often, right? You can contribute online. What is that? What's the
NYC Contribute.
Have the link for you.
NYC Contribute, yeah. Yes, that's what I said. At NYC Contribute. And you can go there and you'll find my name under the controller's race, and you can make a contribution online. In fact, we should practice doing it right now.
Yes, we should.
And so making your contribution, especially now, we have a filing coming up on January 15th. If you can make your contribution before the 15th, it certainly will take us a long way at getting to the matching funds and getting to a place where this campaign can get its message out. Again, there's so much need to be done, and even if that's not your big deal, you have other ways that you can help the campaign. Please let me know. Please let Kamala Millwood know, my number one volunteer, and she will take your information. If you want to organize a fundraiser, if you want to organize volunteers, if you want to do something on social media, we need all of the help, and certainly want your help as we start communicating with more and more people. Right? This movement has to be viral. Right? People have to really understand that this is their money. This is their money. And by the way, in Brooklyn, here we are, outside of Bahia, Brazil, we are the largest concentration of people of African descent in the Western Hemisphere, and we've had in the history, the 350-year history of this city, we've only had one black city controller, and that was over 20 years ago.
Yes, that's right.
Right? And so now is the time. And you see that things are being regressed on the federal level. Right? You see that they're going after your mayor. Who's going to be the person who stands up for you in the city next year? Y'all have to decide that.
That's true.
And then you're going to have somebody there who is competent, confident, and has the kind of experience that it takes to guide you and this city during the tough times ahead. And so, thank you again for being here. I'm looking forward to our work together. There's so much to do, and we can only do it together. Thank you.
All right, thank you.